Chapter 4. Henrik's Plea. Henrik stood tall in the heart of Tantua's grand council chamber, facing the 10. The tension in the air was thick, the weight of centuries of dwarven pride and history pressing down on him. The murmurs had quieted. The deliberations among the dwarves paused, leaving an expectant silence in their wake. Henrik's heart raced, but his resolve held firm. He was here to plead for Kipt, to ask for aid against the unkind, and there was no room for faltering. Deganjar, seated at the head of the council, leaned back on his stone throne, eyes like molten gold fixed on Henrik. Beside the dwarf king, Karas stood silently, offering Henrik a brief, reassuring glance. The 10 were now focused solely on Henrik. Each dwarf wore an emblem on their helmet representing their role in Tantua, their eyes gleaming with intelligence and years of experience. Their symbols glinted in the dim light, the hammer for the forge master, the scroll for the scholar, the battle axe for the warrior. The silence was heavy, but Henrik knew this was the moment. He had to speak. Taking a deep breath, Henrik stepped forward. "Great King Deganja, Council of the 10, he began, his voice steady but reverent. I come to you from Kipt, a land under siege by the unkind. Our enemies are growing in number, their forces relentless. They will not stop until everything we know is reduced to ruin." The dwarves remained silent, listening intently. Deganger's piercing gaze remained locked on Henrik, as if weighing his words carefully. "We have fought them for as long as we could," Henrik continued, "but without your aid our strength will not be enough. We need your weapons, your knowledge, and your warriors. Together, I believe we can stand against this darkness. Divided, we will all fall." The 10 exchanged subtle glances. Some remained impassive, while others furrowed their brows in thought. Geowaser, the master blacksmith, was the first to speak, his tone laced with sarcasm. "Humans, always in need of our weapons," Geowaser said, his voice dripping with snark. "What do you offer in return, warrior of Kipt? What's to say we don't forge these weapons and let you fight your own battles?" Henrik stood his ground, unflinching. "What I offer, Master Geowaser, is more than just a partnership. I offer an alliance. If Kipt falls, the unkind will turn their eyes to Tantua. You've seen what they are capable of. They won't stop at Kipt's borders." Geowaser raised an eyebrow, clearly enjoying the back and forth. "And you think we should risk dwarven lives to save yours?" "It's not just about Kipt," Henrik replied, his voice growing stronger. "It's about all of us. The unkind are a threat to everyone. If we fight together, we stand a chance. If we fight alone, we will all fall." At this, the warrior dwarf, Luelat, shifted in his seat, his expression unreadable. "Brave words," he said, leaning forward, "but words alone won't convince us." Another dwarf, Irunthia, the scholar, spoke softly but with authority. "We've had alliances before, human. Some worked, others. Well, history tells a different story. Why should we trust Kipt to honor its part?" Henrik felt the weight of her question. He knew the history between Kipt and the dwarves had been fraught with complications, misunderstandings, and, in the case of the Placid Mountains, betrayal. But this was not the time for dwelling on the past. "I cannot change the past," Henrik admitted, meeting Arunthia's gaze. "But I can promise you this. Kipt has never needed allies more than it does now, and we will honor any agreement we make. This is a fight for survival, not politics." Delrim, the head of the mining faction, rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "Survival, indeed. But you ask us to risk our people's lives. Our history tells us that no alliance with men has ever lasted. Why should this one be different?" Henrik turned to Quaras, seeking counsel from the wizard who had been his guide thus far. Quaras nodded almost imperceptibly, encouraging him to press on. "Because this time," Henrik said, his voice rising with conviction, "we have no other choice. If the unkind win, there will be nothing left to fight for. Not for you, not for me, not for anyone." For a moment the room was quiet. Then Dganger spoke, his voice carrying the weight of his authority. "You speak of unity, Henrik of Kipt, but words alone do not win wars. What proof do you offer that you are worthy of our aid?" Henrik took a deep breath, prepared for this challenge. "Tell me what you require. Set any task, and I will prove myself." Geowazer leaned back, a gleam of amusement in his eye. "Oh, there are tasks, human. Many tasks." Dganger looked to the 10 and then back to Henrik. "There are 5 challenges, warrior. Complete them, and we will forge the weapons Kipt needs. Fail, and you return to your people empty-handed." Henrik squared his shoulders. "Tell me what must be done." Geowazer stood, stepping forward with a glint of anticipation in his eye. "The first task is simple enough. Bring me the skull of Riga, an ogre whose bones are as hard as stone. It roams near the base of the shattered peaks." Next, Ithera, the healer, added her task. "You will also need to bring us the tears of a mystic unicorn. These creatures dwell in the heart of the Shalu forest, where only the brave dare tread." Lualat smirked. "A griffin's feather should be easy enough for a warrior of Kipt, if you can find one in the high peaks." Erunthia spoke again, her voice laced with gravity. "For your 4th task, bring us the talon of a cockatrice. Be careful, its gaze can turn the boldest warrior to stone." Finally, Delrim, his voice deep and booming, concluded the list. "The last task, the hide of a hippogriff. Its coat is tougher than steel, but it can only be found in the most dangerous of wilds." Henrik nodded, understanding the magnitude of what was being asked of him. "I will complete these tasks," he said, his voice firm. "And when I return, you will have no reason to doubt Kipt's resolve." Dganger's eyes gleamed, but there was no warmth in his smile. "We shall see, Henrik of Kipt. We shall see." As Henrik turned to leave, Quaras moved to his side, his expression thoughtful. "You've made a strong case," Quaras said softly, "but the tasks ahead, they will be dangerous." Henrik glanced at him, determination hardening his features. "I've come too far to turn back now." With that, Henrik and Quaras left the Grand Chamber, the weight of the 5 tasks pressing heavily on their shoulders.